Hello people, I'm Jaby Koay. Joining us is ACHARA KIRK.
Hi.
We're going to discuss Blade Runner 2049, the direct sequel to Blade Runner, which first released in 1982. This is starring Ryan Gosling and Harrison Ford, who is reprising his role as Deckard from the first Blade Runner. So this is going to be a non-spoiler review. I'm going to give you the IMDb logline real quick, just so you have a little bit of information to work off of. A young Blade Runner's discovery of a long-buried secret leads him to track down former Blade Runner Rick Deckard, who's been missing for 30 years. The new Blade Runner, played by Ryan Gosling, K is his name in the film. He's got a long, series of numbers that goes with that, but let's just call him K for simplicity. He's aware that he's a replicant, and he's hunting old replicants. At least that's where the film starts out. And very quickly becomes a mission to find Deckard. I'm not gonna say why, I don't wanna give away anything about this film, so I'm gonna try my best to keep this vague. It's hard to talk about this movie without giving away any spoilers. It is a long film, so we started watching it at 7 p.m. last night, and it ended at 8 a.m. this morning. Yeah. So, no, it's not really that long, but it's a long one. It's not for everybody. I know that there's gonna be a number of people who find this boring because it just kind of lingers on shots for a long time. They're beautiful shots. It's well shot, it's well orchestrated, the music, the acting is great. Across the board, this is just a very, very well done film.
Yeah.
Probably one of the best films done this year, and one of the best films done in the last 10 years. It's just long. It's just the shots just linger for so long. It's 2 hours and 43 minutes, and I genuinely feel like this film could have been cut down to 2 hours and still been just as effective with the story, been just as effective with the acting. All across the board, I feel like it would have been just as effective.
Yeah.
But it was really trying to own that same style that Ridley Scott delivered back in 1982. And again, with the re-edits and the final cuts. Even we watched the final cut. If you haven't seen it yet, we have a review that we just put out of the original Blade Runner. And one of the things that I noted was it was just, it lingered, just long.
Yeah.
That being said, I felt like Blade Runner 2049 lingered even more than the first Blade Runner.
Well, at the end of the movie, I kind of turned to you and was like, was that 5 hours or what? Because it felt long.
Right.
Even the original Blade Runner felt long, but this felt very long.
Yeah, I mean, for a film called Blade Runner, no one runs in this movie that Blade runs. No Blade Runners are running, except for maybe one
scene.
time
Yeah.
there was some running, and I got excited. I'm like, finally, there's some running in this movie. If you like the first one, you should definitely see this one.
You'll enjoy it.
It's a direct sequel, and it's not this setup for a franchise to a bunch of sequels. It's like its own movie.
I really appreciate
it just lives on its own. I'm sure you were about to talk about it, but there's a couple of things that were missing from the first film for us that this film owned more.
Yes, that's exactly what I was going to talk about.
This film gives you more of a reason to have empathy for the characters and what's going on in this story. It's a bit clearer in terms of the plot, so you can kind of follow the rhythm of the movie a bit better than you can in the first one, which kind of felt a little bit random in its nature. Did I say too much? Did I just completely eat all the words that you wanted to use?
I was gonna say as well that I felt that this movie really explored the theme of what it means to be human much more effectively than the original did, for me at least.
Yeah.
I felt like that was very much a theme that they were offering to the audience and going, here you go, have a think about that.
It explored the theme love, and asked you, what is love? What makes love? And can a robot, can a computer love just as much as a human?
Yeah.
And I almost took it the reverse way where, and you commented on this last night when I said it, love is essentially just programming in my mind. I know that's kind of a dark way to look at it, kind of a cold way to look at it, but love is essentially programming. When a woman has a baby, she instantly loves that child, generally speaking, because it's this biological trick that keeps you from eating your child so that you protect it instead. You're supposed to keep it from harm. It's wiring. It's a computer in your head that tells you to do that. And so essentially the film is letting you realize that computers and humans aren't all that different when you reach a certain point. We are basically super advanced computers. So it's an interesting film. It poses a lot of philosophical questions worth asking, worth exploring, worth discussing. I like that about it. I love films that make you think. I just wish it was not as long.
I think that Ryan Gosling was really well cast as Kay because he used his long, stoic looks to great effect. It really worked for this character, and I really liked him as Kay.
If you were not into the first Blade Runner, I don't think this one is going to fare any better for you. I would say to wait for it on Blu-ray or DVD. But if you're into Blade Runner, if you're into sci-fi films, if you're into beautiful landscape shots, this is a film that you definitely have to watch in theaters. Because of its length and pacing, I would say if you're thinking about it at all, you should definitely watch it in theaters because that's where you're not gonna get interrupted by anything else, your cell phone, internet, whatever. Like, you're gonna be just focused on this film for that 2 hours and 43 minutes. I would say it's worthwhile to check out in theaters. The soundtrack is pretty cool. The sound effects are really cool. Visually, it's, like I said, stunning. So yeah, please check it out in theaters if you have the opportunity, because that's the way to watch this movie.
Thanks for stealing all the words, Jaby.
I'm sorry. I keep going. It's hard to stop the train once it goes. You can add something now, go ahead.
It's all right. You said everything I wanted to say.
We'll just say it again anyway. You'll probably come out different.
Oh, well, yeah, it's a stunning movie. It's epic soundtrack. If you like Blade Runner, which you said, if you like Blade Runner, if you like epic sci-fi, go watch it.
Yeah.
If you like Denis Villeneuve, go watch it. He did a really good job.
Denis Villeneuve directed my favorite movie in 2016, which was Arrival. For me, regardless of whether or not I was into Blade Runner, I had to watch this movie because I enjoyed Arrival so much. I think that he is definitely one of the most skilled directors that we have right now. He tells a very compelling story. I think he also did Sicario. I wasn't a huge fan of the story of Sicario. I know a lot of people loved it to death. But I took away from Sicario just the beautiful directing style and the way he was able to get performances out of his actors. I thought Sicario was a super well-crafted film. Even though I didn't appreciate the story 100%, I thought that the director did an amazing job. He's easily up there as one of my favorite directors now. You guys, that's it for now. Please comment below if you're planning to watch it, or if you have watched it, what did you think of it? I'm Jaby Koay. This is
ACHARA KIRK.
Peace out.